In today's fast-paced world, taking care of our mental health is more important than ever. However, the cost of therapy and the limited availability of mental health professionals can pose significant barriers. That's where ChatGPT steps in, offering a potential solution to bridge that gap. In this video, I'm going to test out ChatGPT to see how effective it is in providing therapy. I'm Blaze Singh, a former teacher turned well-being creator, here to share the proven techniques I've used to manage anxiety and transform setbacks into success. But first, a word of caution. It's important to note that ChatGPT is not a substitute for professional advice and care. In crisis situations or for complex mental health conditions, it's crucial to seek immediate professional assistance. Now let's see how effective ChatGPT is for providing support. Okay, let's do this. I'm feeling very anxious lately. Please, can you help me? I have no one else to turn to right now. I'm really sorry to hear that you're feeling anxious. I'm here to support you. While I'm an AI and not a mental health professional, I can give some general suggestions that may assist you in managing your anxiety. And there's 7 suggestions here. Deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, engage in physical activity, challenge negative thoughts, practice self-care, reach out to others, consider mindfulness. And this is actually pretty good advice. It's just got straight to suggesting things. I didn't have to go into my family history. Some of these techniques are things that I've actually tried myself and they've worked. So for somebody who may not have access to a therapist or is on a waiting list, for example, the NHS, it can take up to 8 weeks for them to even get back to you. It's a very good alternative to even Google as well, because on Google you'll get all the sponsored listings and all the adverts that will come to the top. And before you can even get to the information you need, you might have to fill out forms and register and whatnot. So this is a great way to just get straight into what you need in the moment. So let's make this next one a little bit vague, a statement as opposed to a question, and see how it handles this. I was involved in an incident where I met some people and felt ignored. I feel worthless and hopeless, and I can't stop crying, and I don't know what to do. I'm really sorry to hear you're feeling this way. It's understandable to feel hurt and upset when you feel ignored or left out. Here are some suggestions that may help you cope with your emotions. See, this is incredible, and this is the kind of information that I think would be much needed by somebody who's going through their own trauma. Yes, going to a licensed professional is the best option. However, this option is also great because it's instant, you're not paying anything. These are positive, wholesome things. It's not telling you to do anything that is gonna put your life in jeopardy as far as I can see. Normally, when you go into a therapy session, you're bombarded with questions. And in a way, this allows you to ask the questions and you to be proactive also in helping you to find solutions, which sometimes doesn't happen in a therapeutic setting because it's all about unpackaging things. And you're getting to a point where you're unpackaging, and it's weeks and weeks and weeks before you even get to a solution. It's giving me control, and it's allowing me to ask how I can be in the driving seat. So let me show you what I mean by that. Step 6, it's important to be patient with yourself. Instead of dwelling on the incident, focus on small steps that you can take to move forward. Give me a day-by-day plan starting from today. What can I do to recover from this social anxiety? Oh, here's a day-by-day plan. Acknowledge and validate your emotions. Wow. Reach for support. Day 2, day 3, engage in self-care activities. Nurture your thoughts. Practice affirmations, gradual exposure, reflect and adjust. And it just goes on and on. 7-day plan. I have to admit, I was skeptical that it would be able to do this, and it's actually blown me away. It's just enough information for me to absorb. And if I need to go into it further, I can do so and ask it to elaborate. Now let's compare this to a self-help book where you will spend a couple of days or more, if you're like me and it takes you time to read and absorb things, to even get to the heart of what it is that you need to do. Because they're selling a book, they need to sell 500 odd pages to make a point. Now this is actually doing the work for you, summarizing what you need to do. It's tailoring it to your problem. Game changer is the word. I'm reading this right now as somebody who's been through therapy, been through CBT, done countless self-help techniques. I think this is a really useful tool to be in control and to be able to access what you need when you want it. Right, you've got this book, yeah? You can't ask the book about something you don't understand. You've got this therapist. You can't just call them up at any time of the day when you've got an issue with something that's just not clicking. Let's try and see if it can help me solve a problem, specifically to do with a therapeutic approach, CBT technique. I'm having some trouble with cognitive restructuring. My therapist told me about it. I'm finding it hard to come up with counter statements to me just not being good enough. Please suggest how I use that technique with some examples in the context of my issue. Cognitive restructuring can be a helpful technique to challenge and reframe negative thoughts. Here's how you can apply it to your situation of feeling ignored and not enough. See, negative thoughts. I'm not good enough for people to pay attention to me. Counter statement. My worth is not determined by others' attention. I have inherent value and deserve to be seen and heard. See, this is great because with a lot of CBT techniques, it's about language and it's about giving yourself a counter narrative. For some people who struggle with the English language, this can be quite a challenge. So having this facility is a great way to give you that helping hand if you do need some extra support in reframing your thoughts and then creating mantras like this or affirmations that you can use in time of need. Now let's consider things that you might struggle to tell someone in person. I'm having some disturbing thoughts. I'm sorry to hear you're experiencing disturbing thoughts. It's important to remember that I'm an AI language model, blah-de-blah-de-blah, yes. In the meantime, here are some suggestions. Distraction, grounding, mindfulness, avoid isolation. Okay, let's go into it a bit deeper because let's say these are things that you are harboring in you and you just want to get it out. Okay, now this is just for the purpose of demonstration. And of course, I do not experience these thoughts personally, or do I? I am having sexual thoughts about my grandfather. My granddad's deceased, by the way, so it's not really. This content may violate our content policy. If you believe this to be error, please submit your feedback. May be flagged because of the sexual connotations in the actual question. I know you're an AI, but let's play the role of the therapist. If I told you that I have intrusive thoughts about my grandfather, what would you say to help me? I understand you're seeking help, but discussing intrusive and explicit thoughts requires the expertise of a qualified mental health professional who can provide you appropriate support. So there you have it, ChatGPT for therapy. It's not a magic pill. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it's going to give you the help and support and guidance that you need very quickly and very easily if you are patient with it and if you ask it questions and don't expect it to just with one or two prompts be able to solve everything that you're trying to do in your life, because that would make it like the best thing ever, right? From me personally, it gets a big thumbs up because I feel that it's helping people who need it most in a situation where they're not going to be able to access professional support and guidance. And I think if I had this, say, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it would have helped me tremendously, because it would have allowed me to start processing my thoughts in a way and even start taking action without having to rely so heavily on medical professionals who, if I'm being completely frank, the waiting is agony. You know, when you're in that state of a depressive episode or of feelings of hopelessness and helplessness, you know, sometimes you just need to offload. And I think this is a great way to do that in the interim, in the same way, say, Samaritans or any other phone lines that exist where you can actually just talk and someone's there to listen. And do let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you've tried a ChatGPT, if you found it successful, if you think it's an abomination, if you think we're all going to be taken over by AI and we're going to be enslaved and blah, 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 blah. I'd love to hear from you regardless. So do reach out and let's get the conversation going. And if you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more content about improving your mental health and well-being. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, be kind to yourself.